All right, I'm here. Thank you for tuning in. Hopefully, we'll get some people. It is a Saturday, which is good. At the same point, I haven't done a stream since Christmas time, so hopefully, it's not like people might be out of practice. Anyway, thank you for turning in. Normally, I would be hemming and hawing about how I'm running out of content or running out of photo sets and having to do stuff from 2007, etc., etc. But I actually have a very interesting, despite my assurances that I had run out of my original series of photos, that was actually incorrect. I had one set of photos that was kind of staring me in the face. It was one that I had thought I had reprocessed at some later point, but I had not. In fact, this is the set of photos that sort of got me started of putting things using the auto-generated HTML galleries. It also attracted someone who offered me my first, what it became my one of my web hostings, just so I could host these photos. Specifically, and I don't think that a bunch of these aren't even online now. In fact, I think a lot of them aren't online because they were always sort of in a different. When I set up my web space, they're always in a different location. And then when I transferred it, they never made the cut. But when I lost my main web space, the mirror web space, and then finally got something restored right now. So what this is a photos taken as part of a ski trip in the winter of 2003. It was my senior year of school. I would take Amtrak down to Philadelphia. Then drive up to the Poconos with family for the ski stuff, and then from there, I would then be driven back to Connecticut, and on that way would often have an opportunity to take some rail photos, in this case of some Lackawanna Cutoff stuff. So here we are, and it's going to be multiple parts, probably going to be 1, 2, I said 4. It's probably I could do it in 3, but probably gonna do 4 sets. Today we're definitely gonna go over the NEC Trip, maybe some of the Lackawanna Cutoff stuff, and the next 2 times will be Lackawanna Cutoff. I could do them next week. We'll see. I could also save them for April 3rd, the night of April 2nd, and the night of April 3rd. Do some back-to-back. So. That's the what this is going to be about, and I guess we can sort of begin here. So like I said, this starts from Meriden, Connecticut, where I would catch Amtrak shuttle. Like today, there were 2 cars with Metroliner cab cars, but the Metroliners were still in their sort of somewhat original, not original configuration, but semi-original. When they got turned into cab cars, they got the diaphragm. Then after years of never being, not needing to be in the middle of a train or doing cut consists, they plated it over with sheet metal because the front doors always had issues with air getting in or moisture and snow and stuff. So, but this just shows some of their pre sheet metal configuration. And also the old Meriden station. Today it's a commuter rail station. For the Hartford line, in addition to the Amtrak, Springfield shuttle, but they have full high-level platforms. A lot of the stuff has been, removed or torn down. But back then, it was a single low-level side platform with a holdout platform you can see between the tracks, and every so often that would get used. Your cab car is number 9640. Is that an 8 or a 3? I think it's a 3. In fact, I'm pretty sure I already confirmed that. Sorry. Yeah, it is 9643. Okay, at least that's what I thought it was. just got to figure out where I'm going to be for all this. All right, here we are. If you're wondering where this all is, it is located right here in the middle of Connecticut. It's about halfway between Hartford and New Haven. One of the nicer sort of downtowns. Yeah, when I started first going there, like that was a mall. Now it's 4 over housing. This was a parking lot. Now it's a park. I think they had a covered stream that they managed to uncover. And of course, then the station is just been drastically expanded. It used to just be a little thing right there, and they even closed. This was the crossing at the end of it. So it doesn't have the same sort of quaint feel, but I'm sure it's better in a bunch of ways. Here I have 9643 again. It is a Phase 3 Heritage painted unit. Amtrak was really into its Heritage paint schemes back in the day. So this one is clearly deteriorating a little bit. But here we are after arrival at New Haven. I used to number New Haven. I think I mentioned this before. I used to just label all the New Haven ones is sequentially for being at New Haven. I'm definitely trying to get away from that. If I ever get around to redoing my my film ones, I gotta get when I get those scanned. I'll be remedying a lot of those very early photos as well. I definitely need to get around to getting my film scanned. Come on, there we go. If I'm not sure if sometimes the description might be wrong. I said that this was one of my first photo sets. That's actually incorrect. I used to use U.S. style dating on these. It was ambiguous if it was from 2002 or 2003. I looked it up and it is a 2003 set. So this would actually be fairly well. I mean, I would have had the camera about a year. And it took place right immediately after, within a few weeks of my Chicago trip. I'm not sure I streamed that, but those are, but that was one of my other early large photo sets. Here we have a M something. It's probably, it's by numbers. It's probably going to be a 2, but someone can check me. It's 8462 here at New Haven. Nice to be back doing actual historic bits and pieces here. I wonder if that's clearly an old steam plant. I'm betting that's been demolished. Oops. Yeah. Well, it's been replaced by this larger New Haven Yard facility. I don't know when that would have been demolished. If it was within recent memory or extended memory. What I can do is I can just do a quick Google Street View just to see if it shows up in any of their dates. Who knows if I can even get a view on it due to the catenary shields. All right, here we have a current one, no smokestacks. Let's go back as far as we can. 2008. Nope. 2011. Nope, not there. Even with that building not being there. Yeah, they're building the maintenance facility. But that steam plant is gone. So that's good to know in terms of... what was funny is when I first took this photo, the part that I cared about was the fact that it still had that New Haven wheel mill with the Penn Central coming through. And the neat part is that sign is still there today, and I have better photos of it. So in this case, I can just I can focus on getting a photo, the steam plant. So things that aren't there anymore. If you're doing the drinking game, you can take a drink for that one. Let me hit this a little bit of a filter here. There we go. Oh wow, it's Tower 75, and there's also the bridge being built. Tower 75 was also demolished. I've said it multiple times, but I was able to get in there right before 9/11. I think it was on August 31st, 2001. But I only had a film camera, and my film camera had just had a battery issue. The batteries had died, but when the batteries would die in the camera, it would present in a very strange. It would present in a really odd way. Like the camera would start malfunctioning due to low voltage, but it didn't just say like low battery. But for the upside is that I wouldn't have stood near the tower very long, and the operator saw me and invited me up. See, this is when it was actually gone. It was demolished probably by 2005 or 6. There's the actual photo, and you can just see what a terrible crop job I used to do with these photos. It was still. I don't know when it was. I'm betting this was still in service at this point. New Haven Tower. Remained in service until like 2004 or 5. Until like it was playing video games. It had a video terminal. The old NX machine had been turned off. Actually, it was the NX machine had been on. Maybe it was already closed. I'm not sure. But the operator had been using a video interface for some time until it was actually after they closed. They undid the NX machine from the 1950s. Now here we have a nice cab view of the 9643 here. Oops. Forgot what I'm working with. Oh, and here we have a Phase 4 Heritage P40 DC. These had not been upgraded at this point. It's interesting how it's easy to forget when this first batch of P40s were purchased. Oh man, I wanted to crop that, but I got the steam plant in the background. Probably should keep that. These were done up in the early 90s, so this was about 10 years at this point. The rule of thumb for rolling stock is about 40 years for a coach, 40 years for an electric locomotive or MU, and about 20 years for a diesel. Almost all of those do require a mid-cycle overhaul. So a diesel after 10 years, this is why you think, wow, Amtrak really why'd they store all its P40s early in the 2000s? Because they'd already been operating for 10 years. They needed an overhaul. Congress gave them enough money for the 200 P42 DCs, and then with Bush era service cuts, they were able to sideline the remaining however many of these they had. I think it was about 30 or so, 15, 30. But everybody just assumes that these are all late 90s. But these came out, the original 800 series came about in the early, like 93, 94. Oops. Here we have 8462 again. I think I'm inside an AM coach at this point. The window's all tinty and red. So let's see if I can do a color correct on this. Yeah, I can. Here we have the truss. So this is the, I think I showed this before. Here's this giant truss bridge that they swung into place shortly after. So the whole New Haven, the whole New Haven station, it's a I'm not sure if the Amtrak was involved, but it's sort of in conjunction with Amtrak's electrification to Boston. They basically overhauled the entire New Haven Yard complex from its New Haven configuration. New Haven configuration meaning the NX machine at Tower 75 was still in service. Most of the yard switching moves were low speed, 15 miles an hour. In fact, let me go up here and see if I can pull out maybe I can find an SS75 interior photo. I don't have a lot of them, but let's see. Nope, they just have the lever one. Maybe it'll be under like New Haven West. Nah, oh, Tower 75, there we go. No, there's a whole bunch of them. This is the old Tower 75, not the 1950s one. Yeah, see, there's just too many ones with the old stuff. Anyway, but that's beside the point. The plan for that bridge was they constructed the truss on whatever they did with it. It was over there in a temporary thing, and they were able to bring in giant cranes. And they were then in one lift they were able to lift it up and move it across the tracks. Those are the footings for it. Again, I don't know if it was constructed there or if it was moved there in a different way. I'm just going to capture this photo in its entirety because of all the detail going on. There it goes. What church? Looks like Church Street. And here's the Shoreline East facility as part of New Haven Yard. Again, I wish I had a better diagram of what the yard looked like before. I briefly stopped by here in like 1998, and I even have a couple of film photos of that. I don't have them handy, but there was a lot of these tracks were dug up. The overhead catenary, I mean, it was like the original 1918 catenary was like half there, half not there. And by this point, see, there's that new double slip switch that they put in. Oh man. Let me see if I can find that because I really don't want to. I don't want to have to go into my Metro North thing and dig that up. Let me see what I can. Let me see what I can do to find that. There it is. Oh, that's a good photo of it, too. The 1814 double slip. At this point, it's new. I doubt it's even in service. Yeah. And I think that's the same. Oh yeah, there's the new truss, and then the double slip in the opposite, the reverse direction. I'll just take the whole thing again because of all the neat stuff it's showing here. And the last one of this set. This is the new motor storage yard. Well, it's the motor storage yard today. Then it was new. So again, part of the way that it used to work was this area where the shop facility is behind. This was the old motor storage yard. You had a lot of weird stuff. They would store a lot of train sets in there. And they would store a lot of the stuff sort of in there and then around. It was just sort of all over the place. And what they wanted to do is they wanted to go in and here's your SLE facility, your SLE stuff's there. This was all nothing. I don't know what was there, but it was not a yard. It was just something random. They might have been support buildings. They might have been able to carve something else out. But they were able to put in quite a few 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 yard tracks. There. I bet I have other photos of the quote-unquote new motor storage yard somewhere. I feel like that's something I've indicated about. I've talked about. In fact, I don't think I need. I should crop this. Oh, about this time, I'm not sure it was this year, but this is still when you could get C.SPVs on a variety of things. I got one for a Thanksgiving set once. They actually gave me like an Amtrak 20% off coupon because that the equipment was a substitute. They just gave me a little card for it. I'm not even sure I ever used it. I might have. I should have kept it. All right, we're done with this set. We'll see how many more we can do on this bit here. I'll check the chat. Oh man, we got a lot of stuff going on. Yeah, I was just thinking like, should I have a separate screen or something? I was like, nah, no, I don't get a lot of people talking. We're gonna get some. I think we're gonna get some cutoff photos, and you might have to wait until April for the remainder. I apologize for that. Yeah, there's a YouTube guy, and I think he's also been on Wikipedia, because I was pulling up the Wikipedia page, and he has gone and made a page for every segment of the cut. It's insane. Every station, the tunnels, the cuts, the fills. It's quite wonderfully detailed. I highly recommend it. Done by 2045. I think that they're looking to go to Andover by 20. It's like the Wawa. It's like there was a race for who would complete their project last. NJT or SEPTA. Who will take the most amount of time to build 3 miles worth of track? I really don't have a second. I don't have the room where I am to have a second stream. Actually, I have a laptop, but at the same point, that would also probably be distracting, and I would just slow down my production rate. Oh, I got more stuff. Alrighty, yeah, just what would I have put? No, I didn't realize I was gonna have multiples of these. Come on, there it goes. All right. Just another photo of the motor. I don't know who referred to this as the motor storage yard, or I was talking to someone and they referred to something here as the motor storage yard. Now that yard could be gone, but I always just call this the new motor storage yard. Oops. There we go. That's nice. Cleared it up. Oops. And next. All right. Yeah, it's interesting. Like I said, this always still strikes me as the new yard, because even though I was barely ever around this. I mean, I wasn't around New Haven a lot back in the day. I still the whole thing of it having that very Trenton, New Jersey before Morrisville, definitely struck me a little bit. Of there was no there was no good way for the MUs to sort of go in and out. It's still not the greatest having to do that reverse move on the station platforms, but at least it's a little bit better. You can see they can come right out of that yard, hit the double slip, cross the diamond, hit another double slip, and at that point they're all the way. What do you call it? They've gotten to a lot of the trains will come on the outer two platforms, so they can just do a quick move and hit any of those, pretty much as a sort of a straight shot going right through. Without any, I'm betting that's a 30-mile-an-hour move too. So I'm betting they can just come right out of the yard, not have to do any sort of slow speed poking around, as they would have done in the previous configuration. Oops. We have 8518. Still looks like an M2. Again, if it's not an M2, I apologize. I'm not going to go and dig it up. Unless, I know at M4s are the 3 units. But I'm pretty sure this would be a NEM 2. It's got that vibe. What did I say that was? 8518. I don't know where this is though. Oh, it's Stamford. I can tell by that inspection the shop facility there, and why this would be parked in the yard where it is. 8518. Next, these are an interesting thing. These are around for a while. These are sort of low-speed yard switches, and there are some of the, I think they could do flashing yellow and stop. I'm not even sure they were a part of an interlock, and they might have even just been switch indications. But I did get a picture of these. If I go to my Metro North, I really didn't want to go to my Metro North cheat sheet. Hold on, let me try to find Stamford. They would be located, like, right there. There's like these two tracks, and then they come together, and then you have your start of your interlocking limits, like, with an actual, like, interlocking signal right there. If I can find it. Oh, there it is. Let's see if... Oh, wait. Yes, it's in my hand now. Just trying to check what am I looking at? Okay. Oops, that's not what I'm looking at. Yeah. Sorry, that's New Haven. That's the old Stamford storage yard is really convoluted. Of stuff having to come up from the yard that way. We have 4 main tracks in here. Huh, this diagram just isn't looking right. Okay, now I see what's up. Yeah, those switch position ones might actually have been there. There was a bunch of stuff, and I'd love to go to Street View, but I can't. So I don't know what's there now, but it's not the searchlights anymore. But they hung on way longer than... You'd see them flashing. That's why you'd notice them. I'm going to label them as part of Stamford interlocking, though. SS38. Yeah, New Haven was a big user. Where they didn't have semaphores, they really did like H5 searchlights, the more modern of the USNS searchlight. And SS38 itself. Sometimes I remember it as Stam, but it is Stamford, using the later Penn Central name. See if I can find this picture here. Oh, I don't have it. It's not here. What do you know? That's nice. Must be ones that I thought was too bad, so I cut it, and then I realized, like, oh, probably shouldn't have done that. Yeah, I'm sure that I cut it. But now I realize that it's definitely worth not cutting. Again, how do I not? Maybe I have to. Oh, I might have. This might be an earlier name. No, just not seeing it. Oh, there's a photo of them. I'm not sure when this would have been. This would have been in 2006 or so. Oh, yeah, again, here, yeah, there's a whole variety. One, two, all three of these tracks had the little yard switches, and there's we actually have the start of your interlocking right there. If I go back to these guys, they have some good stuff at Stanford. Let's see if that was interlocked to begin with. Yeah, the neat thing about the New Haven is they had a wide. Yeah, the towers all look the same, but they could have levers, electromechanical, and X panels, anything inside of them. Yeah, those are all would have been look like they would have been interlocked out of SS38 Stanford. There's where your bridge used to be. I don't know how they were included on Metro North. On this, it's not showing me where the interlocking limits are on my switch and track diagrams, which is odd, because you'd think they would. Huh. Oh, wrong one. Yep, there's another version of the machine. And here's the diagram. Yep. I don't know what those were under Metro North. This is an all-electric machine. Even though it was put in service in 1917, this would have used USNS style, probably would have used style M interlocking machines, and who knows when they would have been removed. They would have been in service. If you saw my position light article on the M2, the style M appeared at this time, and so this probably would have been a launch customer for the USNS style M electric interlocking machine. And I would not. So the guy had a photo of one. I was like, where the heck would that have been? And then now that I think I've answered my question, that it was probably on the New Haven. Because they just did not have like any money to upgrade anything. SS-22 Shell at New Rochelle. This is the one that they were threatening to demolish for a bit, but instead they moved out at least they moved the maintenance crew out of it for some reason. But my friend, when he was working on Metro North Capital Improvements, he actually slipped some money into the budget to fix interlocking tower roofs. So hopefully SS-22 got its budgeted repair. I can't crop a lot of this photo because you can actually see this tower is a big three thing to fare there. This is one that it started out as something, and then it eventually got an NX panel, a panel system later in life. Again, let me see if there's a previously on here. Yeah, I got a whole bunch of SS22 photos. Yeah, even film ones. Man, my crappy ass point and shoot had a tough time getting stuff out of a window. Yeah, I guess I just never... See, a lot of these photos, I don't know why, they just did not get processed. Maybe I was too busy trying to do the... Yeah, see, this is where I came up behind it. It was really good condition. I don't know what was up with the roof or why they kicked the contractors into a trailer. I feel like I didn't take enough photos when I walked down there with my friend. Or we just didn't want to get called out. Although he was an employee, I think he still didn't want to do stuff. Oh, here's your old shell configuration with the two diamond, the movable point diamonds. Today, Amtrak only connects with these two, the two eastbound tracks, and then they do their switching on the east side of the New Rochelle station, as opposed to doing this. Although this is way more elegant, I think it was a maintenance headache. And it also, it tied up the whole plant, and on a fairly slow speed. This was probably 30 miles an hour, but I bet it would. I wouldn't be surprised if it was a 15. I thought it felt like a 30. But this way, they said they could cross them over, well east of the station, and then sort of take their time and not mug up the whole line. All right. Oh, this is in New York now. Trying to... Yeah, see, there's the NX panel at Shell. This is a very... a tease. So yeah, they had... there's a whole thing on this Shell West where they put a whole bunch... They spent years redoing these configurations. They simplified this to the max. They got rid of everything here except that switch and that switch there. And this stuff they pushed over there, and this stuff they sort of, again, they put a whole lot of parallel moves in here. And they're all 45 mile an hour. Yo, it's one of mine. Unknown. That's one of mine, dude. I know this guy. Half like the photos are my photos. Just see, I knew that I have more photos. I don't know why they're not in the tower area. I send him a lot of my stuff, but I think he was like doing web scraping and here they all are. I think he was doing a lot of web scraping of finding this stuff, because I always make my stuff Googleable. Sorry, I'm just looking for a free name to use. All right, sorry. And he would just have the front of it. For those of you who do not know, Shell Tower is right up in here, right next to the throughway, right there. Looks like it's hanging in there. Rainy day, not the greatest for photos, clearly. Oh, hey, here we go. Actually, I was on Twitter today, having one of the young people didn't realize that the Secaucus connection was only open in 2003. They thought it'd been there for a longer time. It's like, dude. Oh, I wasn't like that, but people just pointed out it's like, what? Yeah, there was a connection between the PRR and the Erie Lackawanna. Like, really? um, Let me go. I actually can pull up my NJT track diagram at this point. I have all these things just sitting here handy. I can figure out what signal that is. That's probably going to be Erie signal 2W. Still rainy. Yeah, Amtrak, there are 3 signals here. Erie, Lac, and Allied. Allied is named because it was going to be called Allied Junction for some reason. And Erie for the Erie side, Lac for the Lackawanna side. And here we have there's the Erie interlocking hut. I bet that's big enough. I bet that's a relay plant. Oh, I bet it is. There was a lot of oddball. Everybody's like, oh, microprocessor control, blah. Like Microlock 2 has been around since the '80s, but a lot of Amtrak and Northeast and whatever, they were pretty committed to relay based because they could maintain them themselves. They weren't if and when the stuff failed, they weren't locked in. They could just replace a relay, and that looks big enough to be a relay plant. Fun fact: this whole this whole project was the last new use of Union Switch and Signal PL position lights. The ones with the parabolic meter, like the PL3s. This is the last time they got bought new. They were still in the catalog a couple years later, and then they got dropped. But I'm almost positive that these are the last time they got bought new for something. What switches are these? It's going to be 73 and the 62. See, I don't know if it's A or B, though. It doesn't tell me. God damn. Hate when they don't tell you. Oh, Amtrak's one of their catenary inspection coaches. Man, I cannot tell what the hell that was. Let me try to find. People know all this stuff. It's gonna be all these corridor clippers, but I know that it's not that. It's like an actual Bud Heritage coach. Yeah, I don't think I'm going to be able to get this. It says have passenger equipment. Oh, here we go. Catenary wire car. Nope, that's just their guys there. I'm going to not press this too far. Yeah, it's all new stuff. Okay. Is that a 1600? They tend to prefix all their maintenance away with A. Yeah, it looks like an A1600 something something something. All right, I'll go with that. Looks like A16320 maybe. Whatever, close enough. That's in the Newark, the yard around Hudson. It's actually Manhattan Transfer. I should be more clear about that. Okay. Oh, yeah, I think someone was actually... I was getting warnings of docks closure even as early as 2003, but it didn't close for another 15 years. Alright, there we go. We're done with this section. Let's see what we got next. Sorry about the lack of cutoff photos, but I am having fun with these NEC photos. Okay. What about what do you mean thoughts on the Harrisburg line? What about it? Amtrak, when we get to the Bear shops, they go down the Rybold branch. It's signaled now. They can just do that. Yeah, I don't know how much the New Haven could quote unquote rely on passenger passenger stuff. There was a bunch of interesting things on relying on on lucrative passenger traffic. The commuter stuff was pretty profitable through a period of time, definitely through World War II. Fun fact: someone mentioned this to me. The PRR in the 50s cut off the Long Island Railroad. I don't mean they sold it to the MTA. I mean at a certain point in time, the PRR told its subsidiary. I mean, it wasn't, that they basically, LIR was a subsidiary. It was very PRRE, but it was still an independent operation. And I was told that at some point in the 50s, the PRR basically told the LIR and their management, whatever, that the PRR was not going to be covering their losses. And the end result was actually sort of is counterintuitive, because the LIRR actually had to do to some degree it eventually made some either efficiencies on its own, or it eventually partnered up with the state. The state buyout happened. My friend said that if the PRR had basically hadn't told the LIRR to hey, you're on your own, I think the alternative wasn't the PRR giving them more money. The alternative was the PRR running down the right of way, basically doing massive closures. He was pretty convinced that if the PRR had actually taken active management steps, they just would have done a combination of running down the physical plant and then abandoning sections like Montauk Branch gone, Greenport gone. They just would have tried to cancel more of the passenger services. So the LIRR had to lean into its passenger operations for money, whereas the PRR could have just taken that and from Philly just ordered cuts. And then when the MTA eventually took over, they would have been taking over a much declined LIRR network. So. Yeah, I don't know how much DL&W we're going to get to this point. Wow, nice dock photo. Let's see if I can find those towers. Oh, got a lot of stuff at dock. All right, sorry, I gotta see if I can find this guy. Oh, I was trying to get to the front. I thought it was at the front. I was actually at the back. Okay, here we go. Sorry. Is that it? No, what am I looking for? Looking for that. Which is similar to this. But I don't think I have it. Yeah, it's interesting. It's like, yeah, Doc's got a bay window. It's really hard to get an angle on it. I don't know why so few of these photos are in my set in any capacity. I think I did up the Lackawanna cutoff photos, and I just ignored the rest. I don't know how I did this. So strange. Because I have the set. It's right here, and it's just the Lackawanna cutoff stuff. I have no idea where the other bits went. So it's pretty it's nice that these have not seen the light of day or been made available to anyone in quite some time. Here you have your Hunter connection. Again, this is actually very new. There were two projects at this time that came off that felt very... oh, by the way, I want to check to see if that yard is still there. There was a pretty interesting transloading facility right by Hunter, the Hunter connection. And I'm wondering if it's still there. There you go. No, come on. Where are we going? Yeah, it looks like... Uh-oh. Oh, no. Oh, wait. No. It's still there. Okay, cool. Although I'm not... I think there's a track there. Yeah. Who knows if that guy still gets... how much lumber they still get delivered. Okay. But in this thing, you can see there's a ton of center beam lumber cars there. So both the Secaucus connection and the Hunter ramp upgrade, where again at some point Hunter Tower got closed in the 90s, and then they did this huge rebuild of Hunter interlocking. To make the ramp faster and to set things up for having 6 tracks between here and Lane and the Newark Airport International Airport rail station and it's interesting that opened actually before Secaucus. There's a lot of neat stuff in the 90s that just revolutionized the NEC. I took the NEC a few times in the 90s to get to New York, and going up with my dad and whatever. And you had to go to Trenton. There was no Hamilton, so you had to go up to you had to go to Trenton. There was never anywhere to park at Trenton. That was always a pain in the butt. All right, there we go. Ooh, I should see what signals those are. I can do that now. I have the power. After Hunter Tower closed, Hunter Tower was demolished in this area because of the realignment of the ramp. I don't really have a good feeling of where the old ramp used to be. That's going to be the 4E and 3E signals there. But Hunter was the old Hunter Tower was a casualty of them realigning the ramp. That's but when I say ramp, that's the Raritan Valley Line RVL Lehigh Valley ramp. So the PRI, while it did not connect with like the Erie Lackawanna or other ones, they did have an alliance with the Lehigh Valley. I think the PRI used to own an amount of money, own a stake in the Lehigh Valley. In fact, the Lehigh Valley even adopted position lights a few select locations. So that was probably one of the reasons that they had the stuff there. And here we have some Comet 5. So yeah, there was a huge NJT renaissance in the early 90s with a lot of capital improvements. This looks like 60, what is it, 60 something. I think that it's their 60, but I don't know the last two digits. It looks like it ends in a 6. All right, whatever. Is it EWK or E? Oh, it's EWK, I think. I gotta check that out. EWR. I always forget it's EWR. That EWR monorail is toast. They bought it from a ski lift company. It's even lighter duty than like a WEG monorail, the Walt Disney Engineering monorail. It just does not work very well. Here we go. Fortunately, this is Amtrak Haynes. I'm just gonna key this on the interlocking name. That would be the 21 switch at Haynes. You can sort of see it there. That gives me. So I have no idea what I don't know what the monorail number is, but I can key this off of the switch. I think it was Haynes with a Y, Haynes. I'll refrain from launching into the Simpsons monorail song. Here we have lane interlock, the lane flyover. When they built the airport station, they expanded lane at the eastern end of the AN5 track, and this is just the what do you call it? The old freight flyover into Waverly Yard, and then there's the lane relay hut right there. I think it's the hut. I mean, it looks like it, but I could be wrong in terms of that could be a different kind of thing. Oh, there's more. I don't want that. I want lane. There it is. Boy, that got complicated. The reason lane tower is gone is because it was made of wood. Whatever that is, it's not there anymore, although lane might have gotten rebuilt at some point. Yeah, see, there's all the lane stuff. And no way it got relocated. That's the original. So I'm not sure. I'm not sure what that was. Oh, maybe that was the old... Oh, I know what that is. That was the old relay hut for the signals, because they had to reconstruct it when they did the stuff down the way. It used to run... It had slightly different interlocking limits, but when they had to add in the 5-track switch, they had to expand them. The Milham Tower. This was ultimately... The interlocking here is north of the Trenton terminal complex. What this was for was to... Trenton had a lot of freight yards at the time. Hold on, I should be... There we go. Here we go. New Jersey. Oh, I wanted to show you Hunter. Sorry if this is going a little long. I apologize. It is a Saturday night, so... Hunter, Newark. There's the old Hunter Tower. So it would have been right inside the bridge there. So hold on. Let me just go back real quick. I think that bridge got demolished. No, there it is. It got replaced. So yeah, it would have been right in there. And they did something with... I think that... The tower, like they made this sort of came in, it was like one track and it came in sharper, and they wanted to add a second track, and it just sort of impinged with what the tower was about. Yeah, there's the interlocking machine. No double slips. That's your freight track. There's the ramp to the Lehigh Valley, and there was a freight connector right there. So the freight connector went behind the tower, and then it ramped down. I think they had to move that over the other way. Yeah, so they moved how that freight connection worked. So you can still see where the old ramp and the freight switches used to be. But I just don't know exactly where the tower's like footprint. It would be right in there, and I think that track is what ultimately doomed it. Alright, I'm going to fast forward down to Trenton real fast. So currently in Trenton, just so people are aware, fair interlocking is there. NJT's new ham interlocking is there. That's what would handle the septic, like the small septic yard and what used to be NJT storage in that area too, and also any remaining movements onto the local freight tracks. The old Milham, you can see they're about a mile apart. So there's Newham, there's Milham, and this is what used to be the freight, the quote-unquote sort of freight terminal interlocking. It was just a full track, the 4-track crossover. But it was there to allow use, because there was a lot of industry in the area back in the day, and you can still see where the limits were due to the signal bridges. And it looks like that tool car is also gone. When I say tool car, that little guy right there. Oops, what did I just do? There you go. These photos are very on the borderline of purple. You really want to avoid the purple. Looks like there's lights on. I think this is still used for something. This looks like it has a peaked roof. The actual tower has a flat roof. It was like a pillar almost, very sort of Britishy or Art Deco-y. I don't know. But they put this extra roof on probably because they had a problem with a leaking flat roof. Sorry if this is taking a little bit of time. Tool cars there far. There's a film photo. Just trying to find if I can find this one with the snow. No, I can't see it. I did visit it. I walked around it a little bit. Oh, there it is. There it is. So some of these did make it in here. Very badly cropped, etc. There he is. Okay. And here we have, this is actually a pretty good photo of Fair. Fair is a duplicate of North Philly, but if you read my Position Light article on the topic, this had an was built with an electromechanical machine. When I say electromechanical, I don't mean it had technically a Model 14 is electric and mechanical, but the switches were worked with mechanical, and it had Armstrong levers. Even though it was a duplicate of North Philadelphia, they decided to go with that type of that style of interlocking here for whatever reason. Maybe they didn't trust what US&S was selling at the time, or they didn't want to take a risk, or it was just more expensive and they felt that this was an easier way to handle it. It didn't have quite the line, needing the lineup. Fast lineups. At this point, Fair had just been repainted. That's why it kind of looks nice. No, I'm not going to try to scan down to it. I wonder when that was. It's one of those. Was this like 2003? Yeah, there we go. That's the one. Okay, so yeah, this does predate it. So this is what it looked like, and then they immediately, right before they put a nice coat of paint on it. And Fair is still there today. That picture frame on the front eventually had a safety message, or like a safety award, or like a New York Signal Division, welcome, New York Division signaling people, welcome you. I'm pretty sure that little sign is still there today. So this must have been like immediately after they painted it, because they hadn't been able to fill that sign in yet. Paint job, I think, has held up pretty well. I think it looks okay today, but I'm not entirely certain. Heck, this photo might be on Wikipedia right now. I don't know. This is like the 3 signal there, but I gotta figure out which one it is. That's gonna be the 3AW. This is the one that when you see this light up, if you're at Trenton and you see this or these are the signals that if you're in the concourse, these are right outside the window and they're huge. It's one of the more visible PR position lights. And from the platform level, this is the view that you get. If ever you see these light up, and as in my light up I mean displaying, usually going to be displaying a clear. Acelas don't stop at Trenton, and when that displays a clear, that means the next thing through is going to be an Acela, probably moving about 80 miles an hour. Feels faster though when you're there, even though it's only, I think they're restricted to 80 through the station. Oops. Oop, nah, that's actually justified. And here we have some of the old school catenary shields. If I can get these verticalized right there. And that's going to be... I'm not sure if those are there. I would think that they are. The old ones, but something's telling me that they had to have been replaced. Yeah, because that whole station got renovated. So I bet those aren't there anymore. I just can't tell. There's just no good way to see. I hope you don't mind me looking. Come on. Can I look on this bridge? I bet I'm just going to get a catenary. I don't see him on this side. Maybe I can see him from this side of the bridge. Nope. Oh, there's top of fare. Maybe I can see them from the parking lot. Jesus Christ. Maybe. I can't tell. I bet they're gone, though. So that's going to be tracks 1 and 2. Well, glad I got those. Similar ones appear at Lancaster. If you're ever out at Lancaster, they have similar those catenary shields. But now that everything's hermetically sealed, I bet those are there because back in the day you could open the windows. That's why those are there. It's like, why do they have for anyone who knows, if you've never been in the Northeast, all the overpasses have these big these things. It's so that people can't just like idly dangle something off a bridge and then electrocute themselves, or basically create a short. And I was like, if you're wondering, like, well, why does Lancaster Station or the Trenton Station have these? Because I bet in the summer you had to be able to open the windows. Westbound track 1, 2. And this is the quote-unquote well-known little cantilever signal at the end of track 1 for signal 1AW. Amtrak going out of its way for a right-handed mounting. Not sure if that was installed before the right-hand rule was repealed in 1984. Amtrak is pretty good about right-hand mounting things, although they're not necessarily anal about it. For those who don't know what I'm talking about, the right-hand rule is up and through the 80s. You had to mount all signals to the right of the track they governed. And if you didn't, you had to get an FRA waiver. And here we have our Trenton River, the Delaware River at Trenton. This is good Washington crossing the Delaware stuff. We don't get ice anymore, but about 20 years ago you actually would get ice, and the Delaware River would look like this. And for anyone who knows their American Revolution history stuff, Washington crossing the Delaware, this would have been apt for the river him crossing at that before Christmas. So the Delaware River does like to build up a lot of ice flows. All right. Let me see how much I have left here. I'm going to check out the thing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, I'm going to do 6 more because I think I only had 90 in here anyway. 92. So if I do 6 more of the NEC stuff, that means next time it'll be all Lackawanna Cutoff all the time, because I'm just going a little over today. So I'm just going to do 6 more photos. Let me see what people are saying about me in the chat. Anything? NH did have a lot of freight stuff. The New England was a fairly important manufacturing center. Pretty high value freight, but again, as soon as you had roads and manufacturing moving to the south, thanks to electricity, you didn't need a water wheel anymore. A lot of that decamped to the south and rail and to road transportation. Here we have Morris Tower. I like to call Morris Tower the prototype of the new Amtrak NEC Tower program. Starting in the late 30s, Amtrak went about replacing almost all of its wooden towers along the NEC with brick or concrete. They weren't all wood, like Fair and North Philadelphia had been replaced long before. But a lot of the stuff, especially when this was right after they had done the electrification, but they didn't do a re-signaling. So that was sort of done at a little bit delayed. So the electrification went through to Trenton in 1930, to New York in 33, and then they came out about 10 years later and re-interlocked everything. A lot of photos of Morris. Okay, let's see what we got. Is that the one? Yep, that's it. Wow, I actually did a pretty good job cleaning that up. Yeah, you can see I'm just having way more pixels for the modern audiences. Grundy, I bet I did not accept this one. It is soft AF, but we're gonna see what I can do with it today. Maybe I can square it off a little bit. I'll check for it, though. I need to try to get in closer to Grundy to get some good photos of it. There we go. Let's see. Nope. I've gotten in that close before. I even have a snow one. Shore. Man, Shore just will not die. It's caught fire and everything, but it is still up, as far as I can tell. I checked it in December, so it's still there as of December. And maybe I might have passed it by at some other point since then and not noticed. The stairs have fallen off. It caught fire. All sorts of things. Okay. I'm betting that this one exists. That's it, right there. The tower is the ones where I'm trying to find the old name. That's too much. So this was back when Bennett Levin was not complaining about Amtrak's management. He put up these PRR World War II inspirational posters. I also didn't know that the Bennett Levin guy was actually, you know, that he was involved with this. I had no idea who the hell put these up. They were just sort of there. There we go. That looks good. Oops. JTRR. Those slowly faded until he put up the Fire Anderson signs. And I apologize for the lack of cutoff. Like I said, I'm going to have another set today and then 2 more. So, you know what? I'm probably going to, if I'm here, so I might be around next week. In fact, I'm likely going to be, what I'll do is I'm going to do this first set of the Lackawanna stuff next week. Next Friday or Saturday, probably going to be Friday, and then I'm going to do the next bits on the Tuesday, April 2nd and 3rd. That's going to be a Sunday night and a Monday night. And here we just have a photo of North Philly. We're going to finish this up today with North Philly. Let me just try to find this photo here, just so I can get the name. SEPTA's now closed off both ends of the platform to make it harder for you to get photos of North Philly because barely anything stops there. I don't know if any cop would actually give a shit and come out, but there's just no one around at the station anymore. Yeah, I did my best to get a lot of photos before it closed. All right, do not have this photo. Like I said, it was always neat passing by North Philly because you could look in and see the model board. If you just looked right, you could always see your train on it as well. It was still open at this point, and that neat, snazzy paint job was actually pretty new and not flaking off. Okay. I want to thank everybody for tuning in. I'm going to figure out where I left off. Okay, number 49. So, just you want a quick preview. It's going to start with the Paulinskill Viaduct. I got to actually go through here. Oh, come on. Alright. I might go here and see if all these are necessary. Go on to the arch and other things. So we have a fun time. Probably going to be next Friday night. All right. I mean, the PRR, yeah, it wasn't, I mean, again, Long Island Railroad was a subsidiary, so the Long Island Railroad did run both passenger and freight. but it was again. I was just the 411 was that the PRR telling the Long Island Railroad to deal with it made the Long Island Railroad invest in or find ways to get investment into its passenger operations, usually with state money. No, there's still a good number of towers. Not a lot with the original machines. In fact, I heard Q Tower just closed in Sunnyside Yard. I don't know if the tower has been closed itself or if it's just got resignaled or relocated. Like K Tower in DC is still technically open in a tower, but it's not in the tower building. It's in the adjacent Railway Express office. There's a lot of stuff like that. Bridge cabins that count as towers. Zoo is still open, of course. Paoli, Overbrook, Thorne. Those are all open and have their original machines in them. A lot of bunch of NYC subway stuff still open. Trying to think like what other main line towers. I think Bridge Tower and there's a couple in Detroit. Tower A2 in Tower A2 16th Street in Chicago. JD in Chicago. There are a bunch. There's a lot less than there were, but there's still a few hanging on. And there's always a lot that you forget about. Yeah, I heard Tower 55 got demolished. That was, it had been closed for forever. I don't know why they decided to demolish it. That is just spiteful. Yeah, there's nothing. The Galveston River Drawbridge is a tower, and I think that's still open, technically. Remember, there's a lot of stuff of what the general definition is, does it have local control of switches and signals? So, like, Burr Isle Drawbridge on NJT is NJT's last open tower. That counts. There's a couple on MBTA drawbridges. I said Metro has A2. Yeah, there's always stuff that I always have to confirm, but it's a lot of it will have we'll have a panel or a video display. Anyway, I'm gonna let people go. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'll again look for the announcement for next Friday. It might be on short notice. That's all I can tell you. Because not sure if I'm gonna have an ability to do the announcement, but I'll try to put something in the community tab that I never use. Again, thank you so much for coming on. I hope that was interesting. I like the. I know that you're gonna, as much as you guys think you're gonna love the Lackawanna Cutoff stuff, it's all gonna be like, and here we are looking up the valley, and here is a railing, and here is a graffiti. So this was definitely a lot. You saw a lot more variety today. All right, so everyone. Oh yeah, I need to use Open Railway Maps more. Although, what I need it for aren't reliably there. Like track numbers, sometimes they are, sometimes they aren't. I should see if that is in if that's going on. If there's good coverage of the Dallas area, because I just realized that I had a major track numbering snafu. All right, I gotta go. I'll see you guys. Have a great day. If no one has any more questions, hopefully see you next week. Thank you for tuning in.